Hello internet, my name is Lave and I watched Glass, the third film in M. Night Shyamalan's secret trilogy, the sequel to Unbreakable and Split. Spoiler if you didn't already know that. This one picks up with David Dunn, the unbreakable hero, doing his thing, trying to track down the killer Kevin Wendell Crumb and his split personalities, who are then both captured by a psychiatrist who tries to help them by convincing them they do not have superpowers, putting them in cells next to the criminally insane Elijah Price, who thinks he's a supervillain going by the name Mr. Glass. So this is a really tough one to review because I obviously don't want to give away any spoilers, and I'm going to do my best not to do so, but then that also means that I can't really explain what I liked and didn't like about this film, and there are things that I liked and didn't like about it. So I've been thinking about the best way to go about it, so I'm predominantly going to be comparing it to its predecessors. So let's start with Split, and the best thing about that movie carries over into this one, namely James McAvoy as Kevin Wendell Crumb and all of his other personalities, and it's another platform to demonstrate how good of an actor he is. He flips between so many different personalities in this one. I think you get to see all 23 of his characters, and you get plenty of the Beast action when he transforms into the Beast. It's really cool, especially when it comes to the sound design. When he is the Beast, he sounds like an actual animal, and I also really like the fact that the musical score makes a return. When he's stalking that prey, you hear that, which is really cool. Also returning to the frame is Anya Taylor-Joy's character Casey, who survived being attacked by the Beast in Split because she too is broken, having had a troubled upbringing. And I was really curious to find out what part her character was going to play in this, and she's underutilised. They do give you a brief explanation as to what's happened to her uncle and where she's living now, but it all just feels like such a missed opportunity. It feels like there was so much more room to explore what's happened to her since. They do try to connect her character to Unbreakable with these little coincidences, which are nice, but kind of so what? And I will say that they try to make the emotional climax of the film about her relationship with Kevin, but it didn't really resonate with me in the way I think the film wanted it to. Where I really wanted the film to resonate with me emotionally was with the Unbreakable characters, and Bruce Willis is back as David Dunn, who when we last saw him had found his true calling, and where we find him in this, he's in quite a nice place at the start. It is a lovely touch that they got the same actor who played his son Joseph as a kid in the first one to come back and play him again as an adult, but again I felt there was so much more that they could have explored and could have done with these two characters. I think what made Unbreakable so successful, for me at least, was that it took the scenario seriously and asked us, how would this play out in the real world scenario? How would it affect our hero and his family? And a huge part of that is missing. It is explained why it is missing, but ultimately it is missing. And again, it didn't really connect with me emotionally. I was expecting a moment, I'm not sure what moment I was expecting, but I wanted a moment when James Newton Howard's score was going to kick in that, and it just doesn't happen. It could have happened, but it doesn't happen. And then we've got Samuel L. Jackson back as Elijah Price, aka Mr. Glass. I spent a large part of the film asking myself, is he actually going to do anything, or is Sam Jackson getting paid to sit in a chair? As the film progresses, he does get more and more involved in the story, and his master plan is revealed, and he gives his typically good Samuel L. Jackson performance. And he also has quite a nice moment when it flashes back to himself as a kid, and he wants to do something, but he knows he's going to get hurt if he does it, but he does it anyway. And on a side note, I think they do actually use some deleted or unused scenes from Unbreakable, which is nice, but it doesn't add anything new. But I don't want to get sidetracked because they do also bring back the same actress who played Elijah's mum from the first one, which again is nice, but I think there was so much more room to explore. Like, how does she feel knowing what his character did in the first Unbreakable? And it just, again, doesn't really go there. There is a moment when Elijah sees all of the people that I've just mentioned together, and he says, the collection of main characters. So the film is aware they are the main characters, but their arcs, which have supposedly been set up from the very beginning, didn't have that satisfying sense of closure. Don't get me wrong, there are twists and turns along the way, and they do connect with each other quite well, and those wanting to see the Beast fight David Dunn, or the Overseer as he's now known, it does happen. Now, with regards to the ending, I can't say too much for obvious reasons. What I will say is that there is an aspect to it which I think is very ballsy. There is another aspect which I did see coming. I did watch Unbreakable and Split in the nights building up to go and see this, and I did put one of the connecting dots together, so that was cool to see. There is obviously an aspect which I didn't see coming, and when it was unveiled, I was a bit neutral about it. I think I do want to go and see this again to really make up my mind about it. I mean, certain bits of it make me think that it is a really good deconstruction of comic book superhero films, but then it just doesn't have that sort of wow factor that his other films have had. So let's talk about the director, M. Night Shyamalan, for a second. I think we can all agree that he is a bit hit and miss in every aspect of what he does. When he hits, he hits. When he misses, he misses. I do really admire the guy for writing and directing his own films. I mean, I think with every film you can distinctly say that this is a Shyamalan film, and I think his style comes across, particularly with his camera work and the way that he sets up scenes. I mentioned this in my review of Split, that he has a way of staging his scenes. Sometimes it comes across as a little bit too staged, but when it works, it really works, like this scene, for example, in Unbreakable. But we don't really get any of that inventiveness in this film. You get a couple of like nice POV shots and some images which have been flipped upside down to represent the beast running up along the ceiling, but nothing in there that made me think, oh well, that's really incredibly well thought out, and I like how he did that. I think he's at his best when he's playing up the horror elements, or he's building up the tension in his films, and he lets the camera sit on characters' faces so we can really study their emotions, like these scenes in Split. I don't think of him as an action director, and a huge selling point of this film is the showdown between these two characters, and I'd be lying if I said that I didn't get a kick out of seeing them go toe to toe, but I was expecting so much more out of this film from a character perspective, and I think the potential was there, but it didn't go there. I was expecting more from it. So that's my thoughts on Glass, and pause the video if you want to take a closer look at my enjoyment tracker now. As it stands, I think Unbreakable is great. I think Split is good. I think Glass is okay. I haven't really made up my mind on it. Like I say, I do want to go and see it again. If you've seen it, I'd be very curious to know what your thoughts are. Do you think it's great? Do you think it's not great? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, thank you very much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. If you can, give it a like, and don't forget to share the lave. Rejoice the broken! Subscribe